My name is Reverend Lezli Goodwin. I think I forgot to tell you that earlier. And I'm the associate minister here at New Vision Center. And I'm excited to get to finish up this month that we've called the practice of becoming. Becoming what, you ask? Becoming who we really are, which isn't so much a process of gaining. It's more a process of allowing to fall away who we never truly were. And I love that Mark used the power, or talking about love, specifically because it addresses this idea of the capital L love. So a lowercase l love, we're familiar with this, right? With this feeling, perhaps we love a boy, or we love a girl, or we love a gentle them, or we love New Vision Center. We love all of our friends there. I love to knit. Whatever you love to do, you love to do that. Bird watch or collect really beautiful shoes. We love to do all sorts of things. And then there's the capital L love, which is an entirely different thing. So here in Science of Mind, which, if you didn't know, surprise, you're in a Science of Mind center. Centers for Spiritual Living teaches the philosophy of science of mind through universal spiritual principles. And in Science of Mind, we talk about the divine, the universe, the beloved one, God, whatever name you feel most comfortable with, that one of the synonyms, one of the names for the divine is love with a capital L. And that because this oneness is all that there is, then right where we each are as expressions of that oneness, that same capital L love lives. And I think most of us buy into that idea, at least nominally. Very rarely does anybody say, "No, Reverend Lezli, no love in me." It's just not a conversation I have very often. And we can dig into it so much more deeply, because if we truly commit ourselves to this idea that capital L love is the truth of who we are, our entire lives can look different, richer, deeper. Is this an exciting idea? Let's play with it. So love is more than a feeling. And that's not to take anything away from that emotion, that resonance we might feel with another person, that ease and flow that causes us to want to be with them more often. Yeah? It's a good thing. It's just not what we're talking about today. Instead, we're going to talk about being love and experiencing capital L love from that place of being of the oneness. There's a chant we do sometimes, and it's, "God is the love that I am." And when I first learned that chant, I thought, that is extraordinarily awkward languaging. It just didn't work for me until my teacher at the time said, think of it this way. Those times when you don't feel like you know how to love, or you don't feel like you can access that within yourself. Yes, I said, because yes, I did. You don't have to know, because God is already the love that you are, and that is already centered in who you are. And you can just relax and trust it to come through. And here was the big thing. I didn't know this last little piece of what she said was going to take up my next 10 plus years. You have to learn to get out of its way. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I don't have to talk you into being a walking out of Spirit's divine love. You already are. You already are. We're just going to talk about how we can get out of the way of that. Frederick Bales, a New Thought teacher, said it this way. Perhaps the three greatest words in life are God is love. Love is the very nature of God, of the divine, of Spirit. Therefore, it has to be the very nature of you and of me and of everyone. There isn't anything else to be. Now, this capital L love, it works differently in us than that lowercase love. It is not dependent on resonance or attraction. It is not dependent on perfection, on everything going the way we think it should. It is not attached to, as Maureen so beautifully said it, skillful behavior. It is not wiped out by unskillful behavior, both of which we probably all experience and witness every single day. It is deeper than all of that, and it's in everyone. Now, leaning into this capital L love is not always easy, because we are being called to show up in unconditional love, meaning love without limitation, love without rules, love without expectation. A nice drink of water gives us time to ponder that. But what it doesn't call us into is allowing ourselves to be abused or walked on or made small in any way. What it does is it reminds us that we can be psychologically healthy, using our relationship skills that we build so beautifully here and in other places in our life, setting and holding our boundaries, perhaps even to the point where we choose not to have relationship with a person because it is not safe for the two of us together, and love them anyway. Capital L, love them anyway. So something that Reverend Karen will sometimes say is, I want my mind to be a safe space for anyone to wander through safely. Did you know that it's possible to have someone who is unhealthy enough in pairing with you that you choose not to have human relationship with them and still have them wander through your mind safely and hope that they are well and trust that they are being loved up right where they are, even in their unskilled behavior? What would it be like to open up to that? To know that there is a person who perhaps caused you harm, perhaps hurt your feelings, perhaps didn't want to love you back in the human way, and still hold them in the divine love. This is that to which we are called. This is the great invitation of life, I believe, and it requires a daily commitment. It requires day on day choosing to line ourselves right back up with this intention of unconditional love for all beings, even that one that just popped into your head. This commitment requires us to make the daily decision to open up. Because there's a part of us that is not open. There's a part of us that is guarded, right? And it becomes a blockage to our ability to love, to capital L love. It also becomes a blockage to our ability to lowercase l love. But especially when we're going for that big, divine, expansive love, it can get in our way. And what it actually is a false belief in our separation from one another and from life itself, from good. But it shows up as judgment of compartmentalization of ourselves. This is my work me, and this is my friend me, and this is my church me, and they may not know each other at all. We're also well-behaved on Sundays, aren't we? So open and welcoming and inclusive and fresh and ready to just embrace everyone. And then like Monday at noon hits and it might dim just a bit, that bright, beautiful intention. It shows up as judgment. It distorts our view of life, and it can show up as expectations. And if people don't meet my expectations, then has to be the way I say it is. Do you hear how I'm trying to control my universe? And when we are coming from that space, what we're doing is we're packing on our armor. If we believe in separateness from the divine, then there is this little whisper, my inner sock puppet, that tells me the world is not safe. I have to keep my armor on because the world is not safe. When we continue to dig into the idea that there can't be anywhere the divine is not, because it is literally all that there is, and that it's dwelling inside all of us and myself, when I really, really center in on that, the armor falls away. And it feels like freedom. It feels like there's this space. And we expand, and we feel it. And then the sock puppet starts talking again, and it talks about loss and pain and rejection. It talks inside me about the time I really tried, and my intentions and my well-meant behaviors were interpreted as something else. It talks to me about all the times I didn't show up the way I wish I had. And woof, the padding is coming back on, friends. The armor is building back up again. And that's why it's a commitment. Because every time we feel those football pads packing onto our shoulders again, the invitation is to take a breath. And just like in meditation, when we say, oh, I'm meditating, to remind ourselves, oh, wait, we're doing the capital L love thing. That's what we're doing together. We're loving ourselves enough and loving the divine within us enough to love one another, to really make the space for the beloveds in our universe to be who they are, full out, even when we don't like it. I feel pretty confident I'm not the only person who's ever seen someone in my sphere shining their light brightly in a direction that I don't think is the way that it should be. If only they always followed my instructions. But that's not love. That's not what love is. So, why are we talking about this in the month of practicing our own becoming? This month we've talked about silence. We've talked about the power of rebirth inside ourselves. We've talked about opening up to a new way of allowing ourselves to be and feel. With that wonderful talk from Reverend David Alt. And now we land here in the question of what is it that we are becoming? What is the truth of who you really are? And I believe to the very center of my being that loving is the revelation of our becoming. It is the uncovering of the highest truth of who we have ever been and who we will ever be. That depth and breadth that seems imaginary when we talk about it in class, but feels so real when we witness it in real life. It only becomes visible when we choose to lean into it. Every thoughtful act, every moment of care, every time we set aside who we think we should be in the moment and allow our heart to speak, every meaningful apology, every let's try this again, every that is not for me, but I bless you on your way, that is truly felt, is an unveiling of who you really are. It gets easier. It gets easier just like it gets easier to hear difficult feedback, just like it gets easier to realize we came a little bit short of the mark, to deeply apologize and to try again. It gets easier. So somewhere out here, probably online, somebody's thinking, that's great at church, Lezli. That's not how it works in business. I can't go in there and love my board of directors. That's not going to get the job done. That's not how it works in traffic. That's not how it works in science, in the hard sciences. But the last couple of weeks, we all got a front row pass to the hardest of hard sciences and a group of brilliant people who chose to be in love the whole time. So who's been paying attention to the Artemis II moon journey? Oh my gosh, I've been glued to the TikTok, friends, for weeks now. Oh, they're so wonderful, every single one of them. I want to read their names because these are truly remarkable people. Reed Weissman, Victor Glover, Christine Koch, and Jeremy Hansen. And it was Jeremy's first space mission. There's no room for love in business. Ha. They brought hardware from the Challenger and a piece of the Wright brothers' plane. Yeah, we knew this was going to happen. On this mission, which is the furthest humanity has ever been from Earth, because they orbited the moon, they saw the dark side. And all through the time they were in space, we were getting these glimpses of interviews and conversations with Mission Control, where they talked to their kids, and they talked about their kids. And I found out about Reed Weissman. Not only is he a girl dad, he's a Swiftie girl dad. There was a point where he was on camera talking to Mission Control, and he did one of these, the Taylor Swift heart. And we heard from Mission Control, copy heart. And then he did one of these, because he was wearing a friendship bracelet, a Swiftie-style friendship bracelet that one of his daughters had given to him. Now, they were very limited what they were allowed to bring on this mission. He snuck this in. He's like, I hope I don't get in trouble. But he pointed it out, and we heard copy bracelet. So this group of 4 astronauts have been training together for years, preparing for this mission. And part of the way through their training in 2020, what happened is, how they describe it is, they lost a team member. Reed Weissman's wife and Ellie and Katie's mom died of cancer in 2020. And as they were in space, circling the dark side of the moon, they noticed something that can really only be seen on the very edge of what we can see from Earth, but you can see it much more clearly as you round the corner. And as you may know about science, that which you discover, you get to name. And the other 3 astronauts conspired to name that bright spot on the moon Carol, after Reed's wife and Ellie and Katie's mom. Reed didn't know. And Victor, the astronaut Victor, among all the other wonderful things he said to us, watching from home, trust me, you all look beautiful. We only see one thing, one people. That is what it looks like to let go of the compartmentalization, to choose to be in capital L love for the beloveds around you and for the beloveds of an entire planet. To not worry about what someone else might think. To show your friendship bracelet. To do your heart hands. To take care of your teammates. and to truly make a daily commitment to love. And so this is the invitation this week and truly forever. As you move through your days, as you hit the bumpy spots or the opportunity to step in, ask yourself this one question: what would love do? What would love do? And when we are clear on what love would do, my friends, it is easy to do it. Will you join me? Thank you. And so it is. You know, I can always slip Taylor Swift into a message. Let's anchor this in with some prayer, friends. How good it is to remember that which has always been true, that the wholeness and the allness of life is right where we are, that it is all that we are, that capital L love has always been at the center of each of our beings because it's the truth of life itself. How good it is to know that that thing that we call love, that it is always available, that in that love there is nothing that cannot be healed. There's nothing that cannot be expanded. There's nothing that can stand between an individual and the divine of their own understanding. And so knowing this, I too know that every cause, every concern, every hope that was carried into this space is being met by that same divinity. That paths are being rerouted and connections are being made and hearts are being joined even as we speak this prayer. There is nothing outside of the reach of the divine to heal, to hold, and to grow. And I'm grateful to know it. I'm grateful to know the divine truth for everyone within the sound of my voice and to know it for everyone everywhere. To know that indeed we are all beautiful and that there is only one. And we claim it together simply by saying, and so it is.